So how many characters of that Star Wars family exist today?
Well, today there's over 5,000 characters. It's very big, and we have lots of novels, lots of comic books, lots of games, and the movies and TV series, and there's a whole world of Star Wars now that didn't exist. And obviously we have hundreds of books and comics and everything you could possibly imagine.
The original saga was about the father, the children, and the grandchildren. And I mean, that's not a secret to anybody. It's even in the novels and everything.
In those days, there was none of this kind of canon wars. Came about later on.
Right.
It was all canon. Everything published was canon.
Aha! Not even Xena is a match for the limited edition double-edged lightsaber from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
You removed it from its original packaging.
No! It's no longer a collectible! Oh!
What a nerd.
I bet my Wookiees.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Cannon Bomb. Let's see who's in chat real quick. First of all, I can see Nightwing and Gonga. Let's get them up on screen. I know they're coming here from Ezra's channel. There's Gonga. History being made right now. There's Nightwing. Good to see you guys. Now, Cannon Bomb is a term I've reserved for videos where I explain topics pertaining to Star Wars canon being misrepresented. But in terms of live streams, I'm going to focus on areas of Star Wars that I'm really enthusiastic about and that I can hopefully invite others who are passionate about those as well. Because, Disney and some of their fans don't really realize that canon isn't dictated, it's established. So we're going to keep talking about George Lucas era Star Wars, and my guest today has been doing the same on his channel in his own way. And just while I'm at it, I just want to apologize to anyone that was hoping to read the next chapter of Shatterpoint tonight. We will definitely get back on that. Oh, I can see Darth Paws in chat. Darth Paws, you've got some explaining to do because you've went off planet and we don't know what happened. You're going to have to explain. We've got William. He's saying, what's up? Good to see you, man. There's a honorable mention. Mark Han Solo. Star Wars, The Phantom Menace is the greatest PlayStation game ever. I'm going to have to agree with you, dude. I'm going to have to agree with you. That's why we're all here. We all love Star Wars. We all love the Phantom Menace video game. So just before we get our guest on, I just wanted to say, I really like following channels that talk about the expanded universe. As you can see, I've been getting my own collection going. I've been getting into some Star Wars lore. I like these channels that they break down what Disney's done to the property. They call out bigger channels that basically claim to honor George Lucas, but they praise pretty much everything that Disney's made. But at the same time, they're out there streaming 40 hours of Star Wars Outlaws and Jedi Survivor. But as we'll get into, over on his own corner of the Star Wars fandom, Ezra has been playing The Phantom Menace to completion, which is pretty awesome, and he's really tapped into that nostalgia that I felt as a kid. And I know it's a bit of a meme, like, oh, the Skeleton Crew made me feel like a kid again, but it's this nostalgic feelings, and it's in its purest form, okay? And you'd know that if you were on Ezra's channel watching his content. We've got Star Wars Luke UK, there he is. Good to see you, dude. George Lucas Star Wars is awesome. It's right. There's Tony Soares. Hello, my friend. We've got Emily the Goof. Good to see you here. I don't recognise your name. I play through Phantom Menace so many times a year. That's good to hear. That's awesome. Right. And anyways, so Ezra is upbeat. He's positive. He's authentic, but he doesn't claim to be like a lot of these other channels. So you know he's genuine, and he's just happy doing his own thing, which is awesome. He's also a really big Ewok fan, so he's good people and he's in good hands. Let's where did I put it? Where did the Ewok movies go? There they are. Any true fan of George Lucas era Star Wars should be watching these movies. Don't turn your nose up at them. These are the business, all right? Emily says, Ezra is great, and that's true. We've got a little intro for him, and then we'll bring him in, okay?
It took you long enough. I hope you didn't break anything. Well, thanks for getting rid of those ruffians anyway.
Can you introduce me to him?
Follow me. We'll head through the junkyard. It's faster.
And here he is. Good to see you, dude.
What an intro. Two things. First of all, that intro was unbelievable. All those clips that you just played, everyone, was unreal. Second of all, thank you so much for having me on your channel. I've never done anything like this before, so I'm a little bit terrified. But also, I'm just really excited because my whole life, like up until now, I've never had anyone to actually talk to about this game in person. I've talked at people on my channel about it. I've never actually had a conversation with someone about it because none of my friends were interested. So to like actually speak to someone who's going to talk back at me about the game is really, really exciting.
Good stuff. Oh, we've got it'd be bad not to get Eve up on the screen. Honorable mention. There she is. Not awesome, man.
I'm say legend, but I can't call my girlfriend a legend, can I? But I guess
legends is a Disney term. We don't want that.
Oh yeah, bad word. Sorry.
But good to have you, man. It's awesome. Basically, we can just get started. We'll let you talk about your channel a little bit. Like, what kind of stuff do you do on your channel for other people to?
Yeah. So it is what it says on the tin, in the sense it's a junkyard named after Watto's Junkyard from the Phantom Menace, and it is essentially a junkyard of all of my favorite things. And like you said in the intro, I really tap into that nostalgia. It's for ladies and gents who are my sort of age, where, you know, sometimes the stresses of life can really get to you. And I think finding your inner child in those moments can be a really good thing. And that's why, you know, I cover old toys we might have used to have played with. I cover games that we might have used to have played. And I sit down sort of every other week and chat to an audience and see how they are, see how their week's going. And we just, you know, talk about normal stuff. And I do gaming. I've got a bit of everything. Obviously, my issues with alcohol, I speak about that on the channel. So, yeah, it's a big junkyard full of different things. And hopefully just a cool and fun place to hang out, really.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you've got a good range of stuff going on. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
And it's a really good kind of atmosphere you give out as well. It's nice to listen to.
Oh, good.
So, because it was before I even had this is going back, before I even had a YouTube channel, I found your Instagram page, and it was when you were talking about starting your channel, and I think you started your channel a few months before mine, and it honestly, you just took off. Like, I think you've definitely tapped into that nostalgia aspect, and I think people appreciate it, so it's really cool.
Oh, thank you. But, yeah, I think you started following me when I was playing around with customizing Ewoks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just here, where is it? Let's get back at you here. Yeah, just when I was planning on doing this stream, I couldn't think of like someone better to do it with, because like I was saying to you behind stage, like you type into YouTube like Star Wars Phantom Menace video game, like your videos pop up, and you've got all like the cheats, you've got like little Easter eggs and stuff. It's awesome. It's cool. Like
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was all on purpose. I ended up doing a lot of geeky analytics searches and was trying to just sort of find out what people Googled and all the trends. And then I just put that in the tags. And I was saying to you beforehand, I've got a quote video of all the best quotes from the Phantom Menace game. And for some reason, I've done a chapter for every single quote, which means the video has about 50 chapters, but also means if you Google, you know, you're a no good killer, my video comes up with Star Wars The Phantom Menace. So it's great.
Let's Gonga's saying Matt Ragslove. Well, Gonga, you might just be in luck. You might just be in luck, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
So
mentioned Matt Rags.
To get the conversation started, let's see, what is your favorite Star Wars movie in general out of the George Lucas 6 movies? Let's say.
I always feel really embarrassed when I answer this because. And before you panic, it's not Disney related. I always feel really embarrassed when I ask this because it does change a lot, and it's between two movies. And obviously, I'm a '90s kid, so I grew up with the prequels. So it is a prequel. And to begin with, it was always Revenge of the Sith because everything happened in that movie. You know, everything turned. You knew what was going to happen, but it was still an amazing movie. It's like one of those first ever movies where you go into it and you know what the end's going to be, but each time you watch it, you're secretly thinking, "Please don't do it, Anakin!" Like, please. Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah. But then, as I've gotten older, it's actually turned back to the Phantom Menace, and there's a million different reasons for that. It's not just the movie; it's everything that movie gave me and has given me. So like the toys that came out around it, the games that came out around it, the music and the memories I've got of seeing it in the cinema and this VHS here, just behind me. I remember going into my parents' room when I was really young and climbing onto their bed, and that was on the windowsill in cellophane, and I was so happy. You know, it's just like little things that stick with you like that. I've got so many of them. And I think, especially with this YouTube channel now and how much we play and talk about the Phantom Menace and Jedi power battles, I think it's the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
I
probably could have guessed that, dude.
I think. I mean, check this out as well. I mean, that's
the best movie poster ever created. That's what that is.
Yeah. So do you know what? I actually bought that off of eBay my dad did for a birthday present off of eBay for like 20 quid from a lady that used to work at Odeon Cinemas.
All right. So is that from like the release?
Yeah, it's for promotional use only and should not be sold. So yeah, it's one of my favorite things. I love it.
That's brilliant. No, it's true because like Empire Strikes Back, arguably the best Star Wars movie, definitely my favorite, and then runners up. It always alternates between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi, but like it doesn't make the rest of them bad either. They're all brilliant, and the Phantom Menace, like you say, it's got that kind of special place, like being a '90s baby and growing up with them. You were talking about the toys, like. I put them on display a little bit here. Boba Fett just fell over. You've got Obi-Wan. Like the branding in that era was incredible. You know, the Darth Maul and the red. And
I think I've got a similar figure to you.
Is he got? Yeah. I got the one. It's got like the jacket on it. But when I was a kid, my Obi-Wan had it was like a cloth. Like it was like the bottom of him was cloth. And I used to like put him in a box and pour water in him and put him in the freezer like he was in carbonite and freeze him. But like you
how did I never think to do that?
you've got the VHS, you know, like the gold
Yeah.
rim on it, and
Exactly the same one there. Yeah.
We can show off some merch in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like that, I remember. I know you're obviously an English boy. I'll not try and dox you or anything, but like, I always feel like I've got memories from a really early age purely because of Phantom Menace, like merchandise. My family and I used to go on vacation down to Blackpool. Don't know if you've ever been, but like a lot of my early memories are being in Blackpool and like Star Wars stuff being like everywhere. Like I just everywhere, and it's
that red and black branding, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's really nostalgic for me, and it's like happy memories being with family on vacation and stuff. And
same.
So when I come on your channel and you're talking about like the game, it's like I don't know why it just triggers something that I really. It's weird. It's weird that it does that.
That's the whole point of the channel. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want people to feel like. I appreciate people watch gaming videos because they're funny and people are like screaming and having fun. But quite a lot of the time, I do have those moments where I'm deliberately quiet so people can just soak it all in and you know, enjoy the music or what's being said and what's actually happening on the screen.
Oh yeah,
rather than hear my voice all the time.
It's good because I think a lot of people do this like for attention, and it's like you're doing it to allow people to like kind of understand and enjoy this thing that you're showing them. You know, it's cool, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's the plan anyway. Hopefully.
Couple more kind of generic questions. What's your who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Episode 3, Anakin Skywalker, I think.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I was obsessed with him. I don't know if I had some sort of like weird man crush on him, but I just thought he was so cool. Just everything about him in that movie with the dark robes, his hair, which I appreciate people say is awful. But I just thought he was so cool. Obviously there's others like any Ewok essentially. Matt Rags now as well because of the channel. But do you know what? That's actually something I never really think about is like what's my favorite Star Wars character, because it's so hard to think, isn't it? Like because so many things can go into that. Like I want to say like I can relate to the turmoil and confusion that's going through Anakin's head in episode 3. I don't want to, you know, batter any children or anything or take out an entire Jedi
That's what
temple.
the Mos Espa's level's for, to get
that's
that
what
out.
that's for. Yeah. Hopefully we can talk about that later.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. What about you? I'd like to know your answer to that.
Well, it's like you say, like I think George Lucas, like what's really cool about his movies is that like all the characters kind of have a role to play. They're not just in there for no reason. Like they all have a role to play in the story. But personally, I like Luke Skywalker. I think he's definitely like a lot of my personal traits. I like to think I learned from him. Like just trying to be like a generally good person, and just, you know, you make mistakes but you try and do the right thing and stuff like that. And then Anakin, I love Anakin Skywalker. He's kind of like what you shouldn't be doing. You know, you might have all those feelings of turmoil and angst, but it's knowing not to take it too far and not to be selfish. And I think that's the cool thing about the movies is that they have those timeless kind of lessons for you to learn from them, and
yeah,
it's cool. But then at the end of the day, it has to be like young Obi-Wan. Young Obi-Wan Kenobi's like the best, and I think a lot of that's to do with the fact that Ewan McGregor he's a Scottish actor, and I recognize that, and I'm like, oh, like Scottish people like are in Star Wars and they're doing cool stuff, and
yeah, it's cool to see like how rash and arrogant he can be in that first movie sometimes, and like flippant towards Jar Jar. But then what's amazing about that is you see what he turns into in episode 4 and how he carries himself. It's a completely different person. You see that growth.
Oh yeah.
Which makes you think it's normal to be like that when you're young. Like you'll still end up, hopefully, if you go down the right path, an elegant, polite man like Obi-Wan and Alec Guinness was by the 4th movie.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you consider everything Obi went through.
Yeah. Nightwing, we can. We're just chatting. I'm not trying to ignore you, dude. We'll take a moment and we'll read through the chat, and we're really happy you're here talking with us. So it's good to see you, man. Let's see. And I'm a complete noob, so it's hard to kind of like focus on a couple of things at once. But we appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked at the chat yet. I'm having a night off.
Let's see. So before we get into the game, I needed to ask your favorite starship as well.
Probably the N1. You know, the yellow.
Oh yeah, dude, that's my answer. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So probably that, because it's just like we touched on earlier. It's just that nostalgia of episode 1. I tell you what, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak about it on your channel. I don't know who's read what, but I finished Plagueis.
Oh yeah, go for it. It's been around for about 12 years.
Because they feature in that book. You know, they get described, and so I don't know why that just came into my head. I literally finished that book yesterday. Unbelievable.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Unbelievable book.
We'll show it off just for the chat. Anyone that likes the EU, he's got it there. This is a book you should read. Ties in perfectly to Phantom Menace. It's fantastic. If you want to get into the EU, this is a place you could start. It's a really good spot to start.
That's what I've done. Yeah, but just an incredible book. Really descriptive. I think I'm never going to look. I'll never look at the Phantom Menace the same way since reading it.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the books, is that you don't need them necessarily, but they do add that extra context. So next time you watch the Phantom Menace and you see Darth Sidious and Darth Maul chatting on the balcony, Plagueis is in the background, like, oh, what are they up to? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And at one point he was walking towards trying to get to Anakin.
That's right. Anakin was headed to the Jedi Council to start his testing. So,
I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but at one point Plagueis puts his hand through someone's chest, rips out their heart, and takes a bite from it. I mean,
oh yeah, it's insane.
This guy was insane.
And the guy that the author that wrote it, James Luceno, when he first started with Lucasfilm, Lucas Licensing, he decided to read everything. He did his due diligence and he read everything. Mm-hmm. So even in Darth Plagueis, there's a lot of lore in there, but you don't have to have read everything to enjoy it either. But if you have read those other things, you can be like, oh, that's what it's referring to and stuff like that. So it's really good. That's the way they kind of did it. It's I know you bought the Cloak of Deception book.
Yeah, I've got that just off screen. That's my next read.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of reading that too. I'm on chapter 6 or something. But it describes things from Phantom Menace as if you've never watched the movie. You know what I mean? It's not in a jarring way either. It's really cool.
I noticed that in the opening pages where it was describing a Trade Federation ship and the sphere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that.
I find that like this game, we're going to get into the game, guys. Don't worry. Like the game, it manages to kind of capture that the vibe of the Phantom Menace. You can visualize it, and it's awesome.
It's amazing that they managed to, because they didn't know a lot about the movie when they were making it, did they? The game, I mean.
Yeah.
They were being drip-fed a lot of stuff.
It sounds like you know a lot more about the development stages than I thought, so that'll be good to talk about. We've got Star Wars Meg in chat. What she's saying Cloak of Deception has some of the best Nemoidian moments from the EU prequel books.
Cool.
And what I've read so far, I'd agree with that. So, right, let's see. Ezra already showed off his physical copy. I was going to ask if you had a copy of the game.
Yeah, and the booklet.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe now's a good moment to show off some merchandise before we get into the game.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, well, we've got the physical copy of the game. I don't know why. I just, for some reason on my channel, I did a little like review of it and the booklet because I kind of gathered eventually this is all going to be digital. Like, I don't know about you, but I play the PS5 version where you just don't need this anymore. So I just thought it might just become a relic over time. And it's got, you know, the booklet inside with our favorite ship on the back. And it goes into so much detail about every character and every level. It's brilliant. And then merch wise, I mean, obviously I've got a collection of different Star Wars toys and figures. The main one is obviously my lightsaber. I love that thing. If I don't have kids, then I want it buried with me. It's Luke's from A New Hope because it's... Why aren't I picking it up? Let me pick it up.
Don't point it at your eye.
No. Yeah, like this. It is Luke Skywalker in the New Hope configuration because, you know, it's like the first one we saw. And I say it all the time, but you can feel the history when you hold this thing, like everything it's been through, everything it's done. Anakin building it, and then Obi passing it to Luke. I've got it installed, so it, you know, it lights up. It's got a crystal inside as well.
Oh, really?
It's got a crystal inside.
I watched that. Oh, dude, that's cool.
I can fire it up, but I won't. Because of the mic, it might sound a bit.
That's cool. I didn't realize. I was sure I watched your lightsaber review. I didn't notice it did that.
Wookiee religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster, if you say, kid.
That's cool.
Yeah, I won't do that again because it's going to be proper loud for people.
It's okay on my end.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Here, I'm going to pull Nightwing's comment up real quick because I've seen he's posted it a few times. He says, Star Wars Scan and Ezra, original Battlefront 1 game or Revenge of the Sith game with alternate ending. Which do you prefer? I'll let Ezra go first.
Oh, that depends on like what he means. Like, if I have, is it like, do I have to play one for the rest of my life, or which do I prefer?
I guess out of the two games, what one did you like playing more?
Original Battlefront 1, probably. Probably. I probably had more fun role playing on that because of like all the different things you could do with different troopers and stuff. But Revenge of the Sith is obviously legendary, but it's more like you go into this level and you do this, and then it ends, and then
that makes sense. I never played the original Battlefront 1. I liked Battlefront 2 a lot. That was, apart from the game we're going to talk about, that was maybe my favorite Star Wars game. But saying that, Revenge of the Sith game was awesome because you had like the lightsaber dueling. Like you could actually hit lightsabers and do combos. And I was always it came out before the movie, so I was always disappointed that like Mace Windu didn't fight Anakin. But the alternate ending where Anakin kills Obi-Wan and the Emperor is pretty cool. But Star Wars wouldn't exist if that happened. So
it's.
I mean, out of those two games, I'd say Revenge of the Sith. That's my answer.
Very quickly before we move on, I remember playing through that entire Jedi Temple level, and you're disappointed when it comes to when the movie comes out in the cinema, and it's just Anakin walking up to it, and then that's all you see.
Yeah, now, you don't really see much, do you?
Now, like, I totally accept it, and like it's best left to my imagination what happened in there. But as a kid, I was like, oh, like we did all of that in the game, and we don't get to see it.
Yeah, but if you read once you finish Cloak of Deception and whatever else you want to read, if you go on to the Revenge of the Sith novel,
Yeah.
that stuff's kind of described a bit more. And
Yeah.
Matthew Stover, you saw him in the clip at the start. He was talking about how everything published was canon. That he was having meetings with George Lucas about the movie, and he was having like input from George on the novel and stuff like that.
Wow.
So it's really cool. A lot of people don't really realize that, but George had a lot more involvement in the EU than people realize.
So he was involved in that Revenge of the Sith book, you think?
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of tie-ins to other EU material in there. Right, lads, we're about to get into the game. I just wanted to show off a few of the things I have. Obviously, you've got the VHS. This isn't the one I grew up with. I don't. That must be in my parents' attic somewhere. But there's a copy of it that'll last forever, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got the novelization by Terry Brooks, which includes involvement from George, which goes into detail about the Rule of Two, Darth Bane, stuff like that. Some Sith lore. You've got the junior novelization. I used to read this when I was a kid. A bit less detail in there.
So cool.
You've got, they don't really make stuff like this anymore. You've got like annuals.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Those are fun to
look at
through.
Does he have his earring in that picture?
What was that?
Does he have his earring in that picture, Darth Maul?
I believe he does. Like, because apparently that was Ray Park's real earring, and they forgot to take it out.
Yeah, they did.
I've got a bunch of these are British magazines. Like, people over in the States might not have these, or they'll have variations.
Whoa.
But these are full of like interviews from the actors before the movie was even out. We've got, there's Puppet Yoda before they changed him into CGI.
That's how I met Yoda. He looked like that. Yeah.
What's the other one? This one is, I think this is young Obi-Wan and old Obi-Wan. I need to get that on the wall at some point. That's awesome.
You got to. That looks so good.
That came from one of these magazines, like when the movie was coming out. Like, it's like a comic book adaptation of the movie. There's Jar Jar. We all love Jar Jar over at the Junkyard. So
I've killed him so many times.
This one, I've shared this on my stream a couple of times. There's some really creepy pictures of Jar Jar in here.
Is there? Let me see.
There's one, for instance. How do I get it? Darth Jar Jar.
He's just lurking.
So the artwork in that one's not great. This one I loved when I was a kid. I used to do like school projects where I'd just like write about like Star Wars, but I used to steal stuff from this. I used to show them how you make lightsabers.
Yes, yeah.
I've
got that photo in. Do you remember the annual, like the white one, where it would be like Star Wars Episode 3 on it? And I think I've got a Return of the Jedi one where it's got Vader on the front. But yeah, it had the exact same.
Oh, is that like like the visual dictionary stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's the Phantom Menace one. That's awesome.
I'm so jealous. Mine died in time.
1999 Lucasfilm. You got like scrapbooks, like the stuff was everywhere, and that's collecting that stuff's a lot of fun.
Oh,
like
massively.
Star Wars is not just a movie franchise, it's a multimedia franchise, and it always has been, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I really want to collect a lot more Phantom Menace things, just from, I don't know if you can see him or not, but I've actually got Anakin on my bag up there. He's like a.
Oh, really? Oh, I've seen you take photos of that. Eh?
Yeah, I think you commented on my video of him. He's like one of those 12-inch, 6-inch dolls with like proper fabric clothing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, I do want to collect more Phantom Menace just because just owning any sort of that red and black branding is just iconic. And it just reminds me of walking into a toy shop and seeing like an entire shop frontage with Darth Maul's colors and loads of those little figures with the talking chips that came with them. And yeah, it's just brilliant.
The last thing I'll show before we get into it, yeah, like you say, it's for the chip toys, like the what do you call it? Fake fan here. I can't think. The comlink.
Com talk. Yeah.
And you'd set them on it, and they'd say stuff. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I've got one just off screen.
Yeah, I remember you were showing it on your video.
Yeah, I got Anakin and put him on there.
Oh, very last thing, folks. Sorry. I've had, this is the one I've had since I was a kid. It's R2D2. It's like an alarm clock.
I thought it was.
And when you'd open like the top of them, like it doesn't work anymore, but it would shine up onto the roof, and it was like it was like Anakin with his pod racing helmet on. It was awesome.
Oh wow. Oh, they don't make them like that anymore.
Oh no.
That is awesome.
So right, we've got the nostalgia out of the way. Oh, let's see what
yeah, what's the chat
saying real quick. Sharing some of the things they have. Jedi Gamer says, I have one of the com toys like that. Nice one. Those, I mean, they're relatively easy to get a hold of. I think they mass produced those things.
They're so cheap. They're like that. They must have just made too many.
Yeah. Nightwing says, do you think Attack of the Clones is underrated? I think it's underrated. I think that movie it has a lot of world building and lore included in it that people don't realize. They kind of focus on like the weird dialogue and stuff like that, but
and the love scenes and stuff. I remember being a kid and it came out on video. We went to Smith's to buy it, and I would constantly replay the scene where Mace Windu walks into the arena, and I would sprint into the living room with my little lightsaber made out of wood when all the Jedi were sprinting towards the battle droids to have their fight, as if I was going in there to fight with them. Bad little kid.
Brilliant. Let's see. Decrepit says, I used to cut apart cereal boxes and cracker boxes that had Star Wars artwork from the prequel era. Oh yeah, and like talking of cereal boxes, I forgot about these bad boys. Did you have these, Ezra, in your cereal boxes?
Yeah, and the little lightsabers which had a puzzle inside as well.
Yeah, so you've got Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Darth Maul, and Sidious.
Yeah.
We're preserving these for future generations. Let's just show them off.
100%.
We've got the Gungans, Jar Jar and Boss Nass, Anakin and Queen Amidala, and then you've got why am I forgetting his name? R2D2 and C-3PO.
Yeah,
and then
I remember them.
I've actually still got one in its wrapper, Queen Amidala, from when I was a kid. So
yeah, keep that wrapped up. In England, I don't know if it was the same for you, but in some cereal boxes, there was a period of time where you would get a lightsaber. It was around Attack of the Clones. It was like Mace Windu's, Darth Sidious. No, it wouldn't have been Darth Sidious. I think it was Darth Maul. Basically loads of lightsabers, and it was the little balls which like you twisted the lightsaber and it would go around a puzzle and you had to get the ball from top to bottom.
Yeah. I mean,
I wanted all of them so badly, and there was a little rumor going around that if you wrote to them to say that you bought a cereal box and a lightsaber didn't come in it, they would send you all the lightsabers in the post. So I basically, as a kid, wrote them a letter to say, oh, bought a cereal box, didn't come with the toy inside. about a year went by. By that point, I already had them all. I managed to get every lightsaber. And then I got a big parcel through in the post with every single lightsaber.
No way.
So I've got 2 of each one now.
That's brilliant. I mean,
So
it's
jammy.
dishonest, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, so jammy.
I think I'm getting slagged for not playing the original Battlefront. I played Battlefront 2 and it was awesome.
Yeah, I played them
The
both.
best
Brilliant.
Star Wars game. Okay, so the game, that's why everyone's here to talk about the game. So Ezra actually recently, like, you played the game like all the way through, didn't you? It took you like 3 hours or something like that?
Yeah, I've done it a few times on the channel. I've done a speed run and I've done it in about 2 hours.
That's wild.
But that's, you know, that again, that's being jammy, because you saw my video the other day where I jumped over the bridge and skipped an entire level.
Yeah.
So it's by doing things like that, essentially. But yeah, that one in particular was a really fun playthrough. Like, all the things that you'd want to happen happened. Like, Matt Ragg spoke to us, which, as we were speaking about earlier, it's a complete lottery whether he actually chooses to speak to you or not.
Yeah, you were like, oh, I wanted this to be the perfect Phantom Menace stream, and he spoke to us, so it's all good. Like, the rest of the stream didn't matter at that point.
Yeah, it didn't, no.
Mission accomplished.
Exactly.
Oh, little porg. That's Missy's Scran there, the little porg. She's saying, hello, Stieg. Is Stieg in chat? Stieg says, hey there, Scran and company, hope you're well. Cheers, Stieg, doing all good. Stieg was telling me today he's only got about 7 EU novels left to read, so he's almost completed the Star Wars saga.
Jeez, he must be a
Crazy.
fountain of knowledge.
That's awesome. So let's see. Yeah, like the game in general. I remember thinking the game had like really like realistic graphics. I remember playing it. Obviously, I'd never played it on PC. It was the PlayStation version.
Yeah.
And like I distinctly remember looking at it being like, that is amazing. Like, games in the future are going to be incredible because that looks so good. But you go back to it, like, nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing's changed. They're like squares. Like, there's
polygons. Just loads of polygons.
The detail's not there.
Yeah. So I was the opposite, because I came from Jedi Power Battles. That was my first Star Wars game.
Oh, you played that first?
I played that first.
Okay.
And then I went over to the Phantom Menace, and it seemed like a pixelated mess in comparison. But I loved the Phantom Menace more because of the freedom. And this is really silly. It's such a small little thing. But the fact you could turn your lightsaber on and off, that was massive for me.
Yeah, like even games nowadays, not all of them allow you to do that.
No,
it's just always on, isn't it?
I'm really big with like realism, which is crazy when you think about the Phantom Menace game that I'm saying that. But I like to like deflect droid bullets, slash them down, and then turn my lightsaber off and walk off. Like, I love that. I just think that's so cool. I don't want to run around all the time with it out.
So the next one's a hard one. Can you name every level in order? Can you name all the levels?
So I don't know what the first one's called. Is it it's Trade Federation something?
Yeah, it's just the Trade Federation ship. Yeah.
Okay. Then you've got you've got Naboo, but I don't know what they called it.
Yeah, you're right. The Swamps of Naboo. That's it.
Swamps of Naboo. Then you've got Utagunga, where you go around slashing up the Gungans. Then you've got, is it Gardens of Theed?
Yeah, you've got it.
What's after that?
Think about it.
Is it just called Streets of Theed or something similar?
You're close. It's Escape from Theed.
Escape from Theed.
So you're in the
then
right.
It's, then it's Mos Espa.
Mos Espa.
Mos Espa Arena.
Yep.
Is it Close Encounter?
Encounter's in there.
Oh. What is
Tatooine?
It's a planet, a sandy Mos Espa encounter.
Encounter in the desert. You're close.
Encounter in the desert.
You knew what it was.
Yeah. Coruscant is level 6.
Yep.
Level 7 is, well, I think you go back to Theed.
Yep, Assault on Theed.
Assault on Theed, and then it flicks between Theed and the final battle.
The final battle. Dude,
Yeah.
you got it. You're a dork.
I can just about.
Brilliant.
I know the planets. I just couldn't remember the official titles.
You got it in order, yeah. So, with that being said, what are your favorite levels?
So it's probably really obvious. It has to be Mos Espa. Even Mos Espa Arena. It's between those two because Mos Espa Arena has got some unbelievable secrets in, like really cool stuff. And as a kid, I used to like to role play. So like, there's little apartments that you can just walk into. I used to pretend it was like Qui-Gon's apartment that he'd use on the weekends.
Yeah, I used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and just walk around as Qui-Gon and say hello to people and go get a drink at the bar and all of that sort of stuff. And then again, like as I've got older and I made this channel, people started telling me about hilarious things that happen. So like, you can speak to this elephant man on that level, and if you stop talking to him just as he mentions Anakin, he gets up off of his bed, floats towards you, and just keeps spinning around you.
Yeah, and he follows you around, doesn't he?
He keeps saying that spunky kid Anakin stirring
spunky
things
kid
up.
all the way to like the last like cutscene, isn't it?
Yeah,
On
you
the
can
race,
drag
the
him
pod
over.
race.
You can drag him over to the cutscene, and he can be there. And if you're lucky, he'll even say it during the race.
Emily the Goof says the Mos Espa levels are so dense, it's crazy how much content they crammed into them. Yeah. We'll talk about that a bit more later. I did a little bit of research into the development, so we'll talk about that. Obviously the Qui-Gon levels, like apart from those 2 or 3, what's your favorite level?
I would say probably Gardens of Theed. The one that actually drives people insane when you're escorting the Queen.
Dude, that's like one of my least favorite levels.
Yeah, people hate it. I think it's just the whole open world of it, and finding that little Ron Weasley kid and his mum, and the war veteran who's on the bridge, the guy who's trapped in the prison. There's so much to it. So it probably is that. I get the Queen. She's not even the Queen, is she? Someone was telling me this the other day. Is it one of the handmaidens at that point?
Oh yeah, that'll be the decoy. But I don't think the game developers knew that.
No, I don't think they knew that. Then again, someone said to me, if you kill one of the handmaidens at the end and you kill the right one, and it says the Queen has been killed.
Oh really?
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't try it out, so I don't know if it's legit or not.
I keep thinking Mark Han Solo's being attacked, but he's actually just quoting the game.
Oh yeah, Mark will do that. Mark will just put quotes in. Sometimes he just.
He looked like he was having a hard time.
Yeah. Sometimes he just sends me voice notes, and I'm like, "Oh, what's Mark saying?" And I play it, and it would just be like some quote from the game.
Brilliant. My favorite levels, I'd say the first level's really good. I really enjoy that level. Especially, like when you go, because in the movie, once they escape the battle droids, they're already in the hangar. Like they go into the hangar and then they're off to Naboo. But in the game, you go through like the air vents and you're running around and inside the ship, and there's the bit where you can like fall into the big fan and it like chops them up. So I was looking into that. That's the only part of the game where that happens to the character, where all their pieces like break up like that. And it turns out that was like a test for like dismemberment in the game. And then what happened was they applied it to the game. So like, because they were like in A New Hope, Obi-Wan chops a man's arm off. So we know that lightsabers do that.
Yeah.
So everyone was getting chopped up, and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome." They get to Mos Espa, and the little slave children, the height of them is the height of Qui-Gon's lightsaber. So these children's heads are going flying. So then LucasArts is like, "Yeah, that's not happening." So they had to take it out of the game.
I feel like with those little slave kids that you've just mentioned there, I feel like all they did was copy and paste. Is it Kister? Is it Kister?
Kipster, yeah.
yeah. Anakin's little best mate. It's just loads of him.
And it's like they want you to slice them up. They're like, "Can he catch me? Can he catch me?"
Yeah. I know. They tease it. They he like tells you that you stink and stuff like that. They're like, yeah.
Even when you're not rolling about in the
dung worms.
What is it? The dung bugs? No, it's the dung worms. That's it.
Yeah, the dung worms. Yeah, that's another secret.
I like the first level. The Gungan City is also really good. Kind of open world in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of get the option to be good and get through it, or you can just slice everyone up.
Yeah, I like the choice.
And the fact that Jar Jar actually gets imprisoned and you have to go free him, and there's like puzzles and stuff you have to solve, which doesn't really happen anywhere else in the game. Really, there's a couple of points where that kind of is a thing, but
yeah, there's a puzzle,
obviously
final battle.
Yeah. But I remember that in that level, like when you're in the lifts and stuff like that, you'd always like fall through the bubbles, and you'd like.
Yeah. That's the downside to that level. It's like 2 frames per second because my console could never handle it. So like I'd walk forward and I'd sort of teleport and then just drop out, and all sorts of crap. Even the PS5 can't handle it now.
Oh really?
Yeah, it just lags.
Well, because apparently, I was going to go into it later, but apparently the PC, it was made for PC originally.
Yeah.
And then it was very like last minute, they converted it for PlayStation. And it was actually going to be like the first game on PlayStation 2, but they were a bit late. So they had to work it out for PlayStation 1, and a lot of like it kind of suffered in a way because of that. Like I've never played the PC version in order to compare it, but I imagine it's a total different experience. Like but
it will be.
PlayStation 1 version's where it's at.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was my favorite version. I look at footage of the PC version and I'm sure it's amazing, but it doesn't feel like the same game to me.
Yeah. I mean, the graphics look maybe slightly better or whatever, but
I'd say so. But then for me, that then loses its charm.
It does definitely.
I want it to
it's
look
to the point where you can, like, we're still playing it today, and like the graphics are terrible, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, still playing it today. The graphics are terrible, but I'm still finding out new things about the game that I never knew. All these years later.
Me too. Like, I played it religiously as a kid, and I'm watching your channel, and I'm like that was there this whole time.
Yeah,
I'm trying to. It's good.
It gives me butterflies for some reason because I'm like, that's been there my whole life, and I didn't know about it.
Nightwing, I see your comment. You're asking about the Coruscant level. That's next on my list. I actually like the Coruscant level. A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
And you get to play. They thought that Captain Panaka would be a bigger character in the movie.
Yeah, I heard that. yeah. Turns out he just stood around a little bit.
And then it's a lot of like finding key cards and getting through doors and escorting the Queen and stuff, which is it's funny because those levels are my least favorite when you escort the Queen, but Coruscant level is pretty fun because I'm pretty sure she gets kidnapped for half of it. So
she gets kidnapped, and I think most people celebrate when that happens, and then and then you're free just to roam around and go around the underworld. It's really cool, and again, the detail on that. It's something I noticed recently when playing it. Once you go down the lift for the first time and you meet this like quite posh dude in a nice white suit, he stood by the door. That area is completely clean. It's spotless. It's shiny. You then go through the doors to where you meet the people who are like, mean people die pretty quick down here. And that area is really grubby and dirty, and there's stuff all over the floor. And it's just like attention to detail like that, which I love. But I've got a love-hate relationship with that level, because as a kid, I just wanted to be a Jedi. So when you've just been slashing everyone up on Mos Espa, it's a bit of a change of pace to then go to Coruscant with Panaka. But
that's true.
It's still brilliant.
The cool thing about that level is like visually Coruscant hadn't really been established at that point. Like the dudes that made the game, they only saw some rough cuts of the movie.
Yeah.
And before that, Coruscant, it was only mentioned in like novels. Where is it? For anyone in the chat that doesn't know, the Heir of the Empire novel, which kickstarted like the maintaining of continuity and the expanded universe, Timothy Zahn basically created Coruscant, and then George took the title for the city and the prequels. So that's kind of where it started, but there was no kind of like, they knew it was like a planet made of like a city type of thing, but
yeah,
in the game it's crazy how much the game kind of captures the essence of the movie without the movie existing. You know what I mean?
I think the developers said something like they'd seen one bit of footage where they're like in a room talking. They're like in a chamber talking, and that's all they saw of Coruscant. And then they still made that level, and it looked so much like Coruscant and felt so much like it.
Yeah. And then you go down to the lower levels, like you say, and it's grimy and it's dingy. And then it's not till like years later where video games come out and you're in Coruscant, and it's like a mafia, and it's very ahead of it. This game is very ahead of its time. I'm sure you'll hear us say that a few times.
Massively.
So, and then obviously the final battle level. What's your thoughts on that level? That's one of my favorites.
The final battle one. So do you mean like from the second you go up through the window and it flicks between Padme, or just the whole experience with Obi-Wan?
I'm trying to think, because I remember in my household we used to like we used to save the game every time you were Obi-Wan in that level. Yeah. And then you could just skip to the Obi-Wan parts. But
oh, okay, I get what you mean. So whenever you played it through again, you never really did the Padme stuff because you had a save ready.
Yeah, so you just like you were saying, it was like role playing. So in my head, it's like, because when I would watch the movie as a kid, like the crazy thing is now, like watching that movie, like the Phantom Menace is like edited brilliantly at like the end section of the movie. You've got the battle with Anakin up in the starships. You've got Padme and the troops on the ground, and you've got the Duel of the Fates going on, and it's all kind of edited to the theme, like the Duel of the Fates theme, and it's
just about
really well done.
I was about to say that's like you knew what scene was coming by what music was playing. You know, it would slowly build up like and you knew. I'd have butterflies in my stomach going back to the battle because I never wanted Qui-Gon to die. I think because I watched the Phantom Menace as the same age as Anakin, I'm looking at Qui-Gon as someone who is safe and is like a father figure and looking after everyone. And still now when I watch it, I don't like I don't like it leading up to his death. I still feel sad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like my point being like I just want, like when I was watching it as a kid, I was like, right, get back to the Jedi, I want to see what they're up to.
Yeah.
So we would
exactly
do that, and then you could just play through the whole sequence of the fight essentially. And it was really freaking difficult trying to stay on those platforms and not fall off. And
So difficult.
And then defeating Darth Maul every time was an absolute chore.
Yeah.
You had
I
to
don't
get the
know if
little
you
minigun
know,
out.
but I don't know if you knew as a kid, but there's full health on both sides that are hidden. You have to like press a button on the wall and a secret door opens and you can go in and get full health.
I knew about one of them. I didn't know there was two of them.
Yeah, there's one either side. Yeah.
They're like essential. Like we used to just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I know what you mean about the platforming and jumping, and the original playthrough I did of the game on my channel, I was using a capture card where there's a delay. So like I'd press X and about half a second later Obi-Wan would jump. So it was actually really hard to complete the game because I didn't have invincibility cheat on or anything.
Yeah.
I was like, it was all delayed, everything I was doing. So some of those really tricky jumps were even harder, but somehow I completed it without raging and breaking my PS1.
Yeah, like I don't remember ever using like invincibility cheat as a kid.
No, I didn't know about it until I made my YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I don't remember being able. You couldn't like rewind it either, could you? You died, you had to go back to the start. That's right.
That's a PS5 thing. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Gonga's having to shoot off. We'll see you later, Gonga.
Take it easy, Gonga.
He was giving us some dabs in the chat. So
excellent.
Oh, that's Benjamin. Where is he? There he is.
Yeah. Take it easy, Gonga. Thank you for tuning in.
Cheers, Gonga. Happy to have you here. You legend. But yeah, that was weird as well because like Darth Maul had like, was it like red, like electricity coming at you, and
yeah,
like stuff obviously not pertaining to canon or whatever. But the guys that made the game, they were saying that they weren't quite sure what Jedi were capable of.
Yeah.
So they had the lightsaber. And they basically heard that there was like a force push, and then it was like last minute they saw that scene where like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan can like really like they can like run really fast, like they can zip run on the Trade Federation jet, and it never happens again. But they saw that and they're like, oh, we could have like had like a dash run or something.
I don't know how true it is, but apparently Obi-Wan uses that power again against Darth Maul to kill him.
Oh, really? When he jumps over him?
When he jumps over. Someone said it in my stream the other day, and I completely forgot to Google it to see if it was legit or where it even came from.
Oh, I wonder. Because I mean, Darth Maul looked pretty shocked anyway.
Yeah. Know how quick he is from the Darth Plagueis book that I just finished.
So I guess we've talked about our favorite levels. What's your least favorite level?
You
can only name one. Your least favorite level.
That's really tricky. Oh, do you know what? I think it's the Padme moments in the last level, where they just give you a stun gun.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Even when you're invincible, it's nearly impossible because it's hard to keep Panaka alive. He gets blasted to bits. You've got droidekas shooting with their shields on, and you're running around with this little, it looks like a spanner, and a bit of electricity just comes out of it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That can be quite tedious,
Okay.
Even if you find all the guns that are available, it's very easy to plow through all the ammo and just be left again with this little stun gun. So
yeah, that's true.
I'd probably say that you're just sort of working towards playing as Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Steeg's saying that you're correct. He says Obi-Wan Kenobi uses a bit of force speed to do the attack. It's not depicted well in the movie though.
Oh.
I wonder where that's explained. Steeg, could you let us know where that's explained or where you got that information from?
Yeah, I'd love to know that. I love little bits of knowledge like that.
Darth Autisticus says, "What's the hardest level for you guys?" Like apart from defeating Darth Maul, maybe it's not the Escape from Theed. It's the one where you're escorting Padme through, well, her decoy through Theed.
Gardens of Theed.
Yeah, I always found that one pretty tricky.
I think anything in Theed is really tricky.
Yeah, but it's fun to kill the guards, and when they scream, their screams are very unique.
Yeah, I do all the time. I'll normally kill all friendly people. Just to give some context, I'm talking about the game.
I mean, I was never really a fan of the Forest of Naboo either, to be honest. I kind of just wanted to get through that one.
It had some frustrating moments in like going across a zip wire while the speed is going around shooting you, and if it shot you and you fell down, you'd have to run all the way back around again.
Yeah,
to get back up there.
And Stieg with the puns says it's tedious. That's exactly right. It's tedious. But like apparently they were going to have levels, not levels, but gameplay where you could go into ships and stuff like that.
Cool.
And if on the Forest of Naboo level, they apparently even built a track around it where one of the tanks could go around, and there was a level they plotted out where Obi-Wan goes into one of the tanks.
Wow, cool.
But it was just like most things, it was too last minute, and they couldn't flesh it out, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the story of their life making that game, I think.
Yeah, and other things like the tanks on Theed, like the streets on the Theed levels are quite wide, and it's because they planned to have like these tanks going through the levels and stuff like that. You could get in the tanks. Yeah, pretty crazy.
Because they did have that one tank that was guarding the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so it would have been more of that.
They actually programmed it so Obi-Wan could like drive them, essentially.
Bit like Jedi Power Battles, you could drive them round.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jedi Power Battles, they were, because that was the game that LucasArts was developing. But when the movie was coming out, they realized that they didn't have a game for the movie, so they were given like 17 months or something like that to develop this game. Like not a lot of time.
Yeah, I've always wondered why there was the Phantom Menace and then Jedi Power Battles.
I'm sure there's quite a lot of Phantom Menace games, and a lot of them are just the plot of the movie. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
But Jedi Power Battles in particular took a lot of the work that these guys did and implemented it in their game, like a lot of the kind of groundwork.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure.
So we've talked about our favorite levels, our least favorite levels. Let's see. I think it's cool that even as a Jedi, you can you've got full utilization of all the weapons.
Yeah,
like the blasters and the grenades. What's it? What are the electric ones called?
What the balls that the Gungans throw, or
yeah, and you can
little plasma balls or whatever they're called.
That's it. I always liked throwing them at the fish in the water.
Yeah. I recently did that because apparently you can kill the big one that's swimming around in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you throw enough of them. And it sort of burst into a million pieces.
I mean, I've got down here that we should talk about the Qui-Gon levels, but we could be here all day talking about those. Those are amazing.
Yeah. No, they're brilliant.
Let's see. I was like the lightsaber combat isn't great. Like you kind of just swing it around.
Yeah.
But one thing I'd say is really good is that like the deflecting of laser bolts and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
Like
really
something
good.
about that is just really satisfying for sure.
I think for me, again, that was another plus side to it over Jedi Power Battles. So Jedi Power Battles, the combat was amazing, and you had these combos, and you could learn the combos, and you can unlock combos, but you had to stand still to deflect bullets back.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Phantom Menace, again, you had more freedom. You could actually walk and deflect things.
Yeah.
And that, alongside being able to turn my lightsaber on and off, whip out a pistol or whatever, that just, again, made it stand out so much more than Jedi Power Battles for me.
And then, so you could aye, definitely. And then you could you could deflect the bolts, but apart from like the droidicas, the battle droids,
yeah,
and they like when they shot at you, you just had to kind of run, didn't you? Unless you were. Wait, go ahead. Sorry.
I can't remember what they were like now. I get confused between the two games because I know on Jedi Power Battles, when certain things shot you, you couldn't deflect the bullets back. Like Tusken Raiders, they'd shoot you and the bullets would just absorb into your lightsaber. It was like
a shotgun. It was like a sniper, eh? It was
difficult. But I can't remember any interaction now with a droidica, with a Jedi on Phantom
It's kind
Menace.
of like, the minigun when you're firing that?
Yes.
It's kind of like that, but two of them. So you can deflect a couple and then the rest just like fall you down.
So actually that Trade Federation level, they come, don't they? And then you run to that shaft bit with Qui-Gon and you jump down. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of them in the Theed levels as well.
Yeah, there's loads. You kind of just have to hop on the turrets to kill them.
Yeah, you can get on the turrets, or like I think the idea is to try and shoot them while they're rolling.
Yeah.
And you can kind of stomp them and they get like stuck.
They stutter and they can't like open up, and 100%. Yeah, you got it.
So the blast, like deflecting the blaster bolts is satisfying, and then the thing I remember also being satisfying is when you get like a group of the battle droids and you force them, and then they all fall on their butts, and then you just run up and slice them up. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I love doing that. Like, just a nice little force push, run over, slice them, done. Yeah, I love that.
Let's see.
Oh, Benjamin's going. See you later, Benjamin.
Oh, it's Benjamin Oskies. Oh, I've missed it, I think. Oh, we've got Vex in the chat. Good to see you, Vex. He says, I was just about to ask which game had the better combat. Thanks, Ezra. It's obviously it's Phantom Menace, the best Star Wars game ever made. Catch you later, Benjamin. Steeg's giving us all the lore. Cheers, Steeg.
I love that. I've just been reading through that. That's why I went a bit quiet.
Let's see. We've talked about the weapons. Right. The voice acting in this game is incredible.
Yeah.
Just the pure range of it, and even when it's like they're trying to like antagonize you as well and make you feel like crap.
No, they definitely are. So, like, I don't know. Are we going to talk about quotes at some point during this? But not to jump the gun, but I think my favorite quote in the game, and they've clever how they've done it, is the little kid Gungan who is bright green. He looks like the Incredible Hulk. He stands out more than any of the other Gungans, and he is the only one that says, "You are very ugly, Outlander." And I think they've done it on purpose because he's this little green kid who's bright green. And they've put him by the door, so you can't walk past him without him calling you ugly.
Yeah.
He's blatantly there to wind you up, so you kill him. So yeah, you are 100% right in this, in saying they have tried to antagonize you.
Let's see. The dialogue options are pretty insane. And like, there's a lot of options as well. Like, it's one of the first games I remember where you talk to someone and you can kind of pick your replies.
Yeah.
And that's something they did develop for this game, and especially on the Qui-Gon levels, they were kind of testing it out. That's why there's so much variation in those levels. Those were like a pure sandbox, because they didn't know everything about the movie yet. They just wanted to make the game as fun as possible.
Yeah.
So the Qui-Gon levels were just a point of like, right, what can we do, and like, how far can we push this kind of thing. So like, the dialogue options are insane in those levels.
I think I heard them say in that interview that they ran out of things to do, or it was really early, so they ended up putting loads of time into that Mos Espa level, didn't they? They had too much time to do it. And now I think about it, is it Nimodians, the Trade Federation guys?
Yeah.
They have normal human voices in the Phantom Menace game. I'm assuming because they hadn't seen any of the
I think you're right.
Yeah. He has like he has a really posh voice. he doesn't sound like an alien at all.
Now there are two of them.
Yeah, he says no, don't touch the power generator. And he's like really posh, but it's coming out of this like hideous green alien.
I didn't think about that. So yeah, I guess what are some of your favorite quotes from the game?
So the one I said, obviously the iconic "I won't help a murderer like you" from Anakin.
Yeah.
Before he starts spinning around you and going crazy. I've got, I don't know if I can actually get this up. Yeah, I can. Yeah, so on I for those of you who don't know, I basically did a massive Phantom Menace PS1 quote video, because a lot of people, grew up and knew the sayings and would say them to people. And I did a chapter for every single quote. I mean, I could read them all here. I've got, even if I just read them, it should bring back memories. Like,
oh yeah,
I never knew a Jedi could be so rude. Better stand back, mister, because I'm about to slash all my prices.
Oh, that's the best, yeah.
Jabba is even more grotesque than I imagined when Qui-Gon's talking to Jabba. Barbo is hurrying as fast as he can. Like, there's just so many iconic quotes from that game.
Definitely. I like the little Ron Weasley kid, and he's like, what is it he says? He's like, help me, please, someone help me.
Yeah.
And then you decide to kill him, and he's like, he does that weird like breathing thing.
Yeah.
The sigh.
He goes, and it kind of drags on for ages.
Brilliant. So, folks, I've seen a couple people bringing up Matt Rags.
Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah,
anything Matt Rags says. So I thought we could do a little bit of a character background here.
Do it.
Let's see. It says, in terms of canon, the events in this section may or may not have been confirmed as canon within the Star Wars EU continuity. So Matt Rags came to Moss. Ezra's going to be listening to this like, Matt Rags is just a liar. Like, he's talking rubbish. So
Matt Rags is a fraud, but I'll let you continue.
I don't know what Wikipedia talks about him in like the canon section, but in the legends section, this is where this comes from. Matt Rags came to Mos Espa to hunt crate dragons, claiming he was the greatest beast hunter in the galaxy. During his time in Mos Espa, Rags ran into Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, who was trying to purchase a hyperdrive generator. Such was Qui-Gon's kindness towards the rugged Matt Rags. The hunter gave the Jedi a rare krayt dragon tooth as a souvenir. The tooth may then be traded in Mos Espa for a blaster. During the Boonta Eve Classic pod races, Rags worked as a pod racer mechanic to earn a living. His sport of dragon hunting was not frequent enough to pay well. During the rule of the Galactic Empire, Matt Rags still lived in Mos Espa, helping locals train to become worthy hunters. He wore a krayt dragon's claw around his neck as a show of his status as a hunter. He continued to boast about his greatest kills, a wild rancor on Dathomir being one of them. He bragged, his bragging annoyed those who knew him. He does sound like a total chancer, eh? He's just like
he sounds like a right.
His neck.
He sounds like such a David Brent, like an Office type parody of himself. Like, I reckon if Qui-Gon took that tooth to a museum, he'd find out it was like a banther tooth or something. It wasn't even a krayt dragon tooth.
A banther tooth.
But yeah, it's just the front that he has when you talk to him in that game. He like says, "And I am Matt Rags, the greatest bounty hunter the world has ever known," or something, something along those lines. And it's just so funny. Yeah,
because he gives you the krayt dragon tooth, and he's like, "This is priceless, but I'm feeling generous, so you can have it."
It's
like,
fake,
all right.
It's this fake little tooth that he's bought down the bar off of some like mercenary who's down there. He didn't even get it. I think he's just a mechanic who talks too much.
Oh yeah, the pod racing story is definitely the true one.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But apparently he's been in the game, and there's a couple of scenes in the movie where you see him. I think where was it? I've written it down here. He was in a couple of the games. It says he was a non-playable character in the Star Wars Galaxies game, where it basically gives you like quests to go on involving like hunter various like creatures to hunt and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he's bald under that pointy hat as well. So
really, I always thought he had like black or brown hair.
Yeah, apparently not.
I don't know if I imagined it. He's not in the scene with like Quinlan Vos, you know, when you kind of see him like sat there.
Yeah, you've got it.
Yeah.
Ezra's not a fake fan, everyone. He knows the lore. So like I've included that. So he's in the Phantom Menace. He's sitting at the same table as Quinlan Vos, and apparently he's even in one of the Quinlan Vos comic books as well.
I wonder. See, now I'm starting to think maybe it's true, because I mean he's hanging out with Quinlan Vos. I mean,
yeah, maybe he is a skilled hunter.
Yeah, does make you wonder.
And for people in the chat that aren't aware, like Quinlan Vos, like he was in the Phantom Menace first, and then he was adapted from the movie like into a Jedi just because he looked cool, basically. He was even one of George Lucas's favorite characters because George Lucas loved reading the comic books. Like he's a visual guy, so he liked the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And he really liked Ayla Secura as well, the Blue Twi'lek Jedi. And she was in the comic books. From what I recall, she was Quinlan Vos's Padawan for a while.
Oh wow!
And then so he utilized her in the Attack of the Clones. So
yeah, and gave her like a noble death in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, she got mowed down by the.
She was one of she was one of the lucky Jedi to get a scene. Yeah.
And I'm pretty Quinlan Vos. He's like mentioned by Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith as well.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Like I say, it's a multimedia project, so a lot of this stuff gets interconnected.
Yeah, I love that.
Let's see. Matt Rags had his moment of fame there.
Yeah, Gonga will be gutted he missed that.
He can watch the replay. Gonga's a good dude.
He'll want to watch that back.
Let's see. A brief history of the game. The game expands on things not seen in the movie. For example, we see that Padme is up. We see what she's up to while Anakin is headed to the Jedi Council. And there's other things that are changed to serve the narrative, such as Jar Jar being imprisoned. We talked about that a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, so the game, like in development, the game was made by like 10 dudes. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a small team, wasn't it?
Pretty crazy. And they were developing tool. They were actually right. I thought this was crazy. You might have seen the same video that I did. They were creating tools for a different Star Wars game where basically you would play as Darth Vader, like the same kind of game that the Phantom Menace was, with Darth Vader as the lead character. That's insane.
That would have been incredible.
And like I said, they only had about 17 months to make the game. And yeah, so Lucasfilm were working on Jedi Power Battles. They didn't have a game for the movie, and so they basically farmed it out to these guys that were able to make games quickly, essentially.
What a gig. Imagine that.
Oh yeah. And they've said that like working on this game was like the most fun they've ever had, like making a game.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it's like, it's just so unique that you're making a game for something that's so big and it's just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and you get like, it's like weird how much free reign they had with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
like you wouldn't get that these days, with especially with a Star Wars
no,
project.
I think it got pretty trashed on, didn't it, when it came out?
The game, yeah, like
yeah.
They blame it on the movie not doing so well, but the thing with the movie was that it was purely like critical media that were harping on it. Like growing up, I didn't know anyone that were like hating the movies. You know what I mean?
No.
I think it was a media thing. It's like because they weren't as well received as the original trilogy. You know?
Yeah, which they never would have been ever.
No, definitely.
Like,
but I think it's really great that George Lucas made it the way he wanted to, instead of just rehashing the original trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It stresses me out when you watch the behind the scenes making of the Phantom Menace, that documentary that's on YouTube, and they've all just watched it for the first time, and like what a jumbled up mess it is, and all the cutting that they still had to do to try and make it all pieced together.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. And in the end, it, like we talked about earlier, it ended up flowing really nicely, and the way they used the themes to let you know what you were going back into was just amazing. I loved it.
The other really cool thing I think about the Phantom Menace is that, like, compared to the next two prequels, which where he was really pushing like the digital thing, he was trying to like progress like filmmaking kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace really is like the perfect blend of practical and CGI.
Yeah.
And it has a really different aesthetic to the other movies, and I think it actually holds up the best as well.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Because originally they had the suit for Jar Jar, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they ended up using CGI. So I think they said in one of the documentaries they ended up wasting about $100,000 or whatever it was on a suit that they only ever used just to mark where he was in the end, and not.
Yeah. But even it gets a lot of criticism for being like too much CGI. But then you go back, and a lot of the Phantom Menace was like practical sets. There was like costumes, pardon me, a lot of creativity and artistry went into that movie, and it really holds up. I personally think.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, you go back and watch some scenes in Attack of the Clones now, and it's starting to look,
yeah,
a
definitely.
bit like you don't really tend to get that with the Phantom Menace as much.
I think it's funny that it's weird that though the prequels get trashed for having too much CGI, but then like every single movie these days is full of CGI. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's like a narrative. It's like a talking point that people jump on, but it applies to everything that's been made since. You know,
it's like that whole battle between the Hobbit and the original Lord of the Rings. The OG original Lord of the Rings was all like pretty much like the orcs and stuff were all like costumes and everything else.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
The Hobbit, you know, they're very smooth and CGI and don't look as fearsome in some people's opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
it's a little bit like that. With the Phantom Menace, like I hear people talking about it all the time. Like when people talk about that movie, and they even say it in the developer interview for this game, they all speak about how the pod race was meant to be the scene, like the thing in the movie. I never looked at it like that as a kid. I never like saw the pod racing as like the wow moment, the scene. I think I was always more sort of fascinated by the Jedi and their powers and the big finale at the end. That always came to my head more than like this big theatrical pod race for some reason.
Yeah, that's true. Like it's weird because going back to it, like you are on Tatooine for like a large portion of that movie.
Yeah.
And, like the pod race is kind of like the spectacle, but it's not what sticks in my mind either when I watch that movie. It's finding Anakin, and it's kind of like the last act of the movie where Qui-Gon dies, and then it's like what's going to happen next kind of thing.
Yeah, and Anakin leaving his mum was always stuck with me because I was I was Anakin's age and very attached to my mum. So seeing that, like it was hard to watch as a kid and put myself in those shoes, and you felt scared for him. And I think they did a good job in that, particularly in like the next scene where he's cold and on the ship and he's sort of just with Padme, and that's all he's got now, really.
Yeah, that's what the character that is the pilot on Padme's ship. I can't remember his name, but if you next time you watch the movie, right, focus on what he says. Like every single line that dude has is just exposition. It's like,
is it? Yeah.
He's like he's like, oh, the shields are down. Oh, the droid's going to fix it. Oh, we're approaching Coruscant. Oh, there's Senator Palpatine ready to meet us. It's actually pretty funny.
I'm never going to unhear it now. He's a narrator.
Aye, pretty much.
Oh man.
Next on schedule, I've got a little bit of trivia. So it says here, what is this? Oh, you know, like the guards on the Mos Espa levels.
Yes. Yeah.
They were apparently supposed to be Gamorrean guards.
Yeah.
And then for like undisclosed reasons, nobody knows why, Skywalker Ranch told them to like remove the Gamorrean guards.
I don't understand that. No.
But like even the developers were never given a reason for it. So they were replaced by, what do they call them? Are they like scavengers or something? Like
it might even say in my booklet. Emily the Goof in the chat will probably know this off the top of her head, but
I always just assumed they were Gamorrean guards when I was playing.
Do you know what? I never did, and then I kind of thought, well, it would make sense if they are, but they're the wrong color.
Yeah, they're like grey.
And it's the same species as the guy that you fight at the end of Mos Espa Arena.
That's right, yeah.
He's just in a suit with a gun. I don't know if it's got anything about them here, but no, it hasn't. They're not even in this booklet for some reason. Maybe that tells you something as well. But yeah, I don't know what they were.
I just thought it was weird that they didn't want them in there.
Yeah,
and then
I'd love to know why.
The next one's gonna like hurt like it's going to hurt. Basically, they planned for like a player versus player component in this game, so it was basically like an arena setting, and then it would be like you could pick a player and you would all go in and like fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had it like to a point where like the developers were like playing against each other and having a blast, but like they couldn't. The only reason it's not in the game is because they didn't have time to make like a loading screen for it.
Like do
which
all
is
the
insane.
interface.
Like, that would have been so much fun.
Eve and the little porg are leaving.
Oh, let's see. There's Eve. I'm off now, guys, but thanks for the stream. It's been super interesting to watch. Well, cheers, Eve. I was really happy
Thanks,
to have
Eve.
you here.
Sleep well.
And Little Porg, same for me, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for being here, Little Porg. I'm sure I'll see you at some point. Awesome. We won't go too much longer, guys. We've got a little bit of trivia, and then we'll have a wee chat. But thanks for being here, everyone. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. And apart from that, did you know that let's see. Like they had Mace Windu as a playable character as well.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea about that.
But at this point, he would have still had. I know in Jedi Power Battles he had the blue lightsaber as well.
Yeah, he did.
It like, wasn't a thing yet.
It wasn't a thing. He hadn't had that sort of famous chat with George Lucas yet about his favorite color being purple.
Well, I heard that he asked for a black lightsaber, and George Lucas was like, "No," and he's like, "What about purple?" And he's like, "You might get purple." So
yeah, you might. Yeah, I've seen the footage of him speaking to George. About it. Yeah.
What is that?
I'll see you later, Nightwing.
Oh, Nightwing's off. Good to see you, man. Thanks for being active in the chat.
Yeah, thanks, Nightwing. Take it easy, buddy.
I'll be less of a noob in due time, and I'll highlight your chats more. Cheers, dude.
Nah, you're doing a great job. Doing better than I do.
We talked a bit about the vehicles. Apparently, there was going to be an entire level with the Otabunga, like the underwater ship.
Yeah.
Going towards Steed.
Again, I heard them talk in that interview. They didn't know what that scene was going to be, what it was.
Yeah.
They just thought it was going to be a real quick thing, but you ended up getting that whole sequence underwater with the massive creatures.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting to see how they did that. I just can't imagine vehicles in that game for some reason, like actually commanding a vehicle. I just can't imagine it at all.
Yeah, like it's odd, like listening to the guys talk about like making the game. Like it kind of it sounds like they could have done anything. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like I don't understand that. Like they could have made anything they wanted and made it work. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, like what do you think of the camera angle in the game?
I never really thought about it. I don't mind it. I know they had to do it, didn't they? They got told they had to do it, and it couldn't be too similar to another game that was coming out around it, so they had to sort of either bring it back.
Yeah,
I think they wanted it first person at some point, I think.
It's weird because like it's kind of like it's above you and like looking diagonally like that. Like you can't quite see what's in front of you, you know what I mean?
No. I think I remember it being a bit weird when I first played it. And then over time I've just accepted it and got used to it. But in any other game now I'd be like, nah. Not for me.
Yeah. It's like you kind of have to like memorize where everything is.
Yeah. Which by this point we probably have.
Yeah.
So it works out fine for us.
I mean, I didn't have a chance to like replay it before the stream, but like your stream definitely helped me out with that.
Oh, good.
And then
I appreciate that.
I replayed the Qui-Gon levels last night, so.
Oh, brilliant.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's really handy now that you can just put like a cheat in and pick the level that you want to play as. And
Oh yeah,
if you want to be
definitely.
invincible or not, it makes things a lot easier. And rewinding as well. Like,
Oh, the
if you
rewinding's brilliant.
if you fall
Especially
off
if
of
you like
something,
kill someone and then everyone attacks you, you're like, I don't want to restart the level, so I'll just rewind a little
I'll
bit.
just
So-
rewind a little bit. Yeah, or if you climb your way to the top of something and fall off, just rewind back a little bit.
Because
Yeah.
we used to, it was my older brother used to play it first, and then he would like save it. He would save it at the start of every level,
Yeah,
so you'd have a separate save for every level. So you
each
could pick,
level.
you could pick the level you wanted to play essentially.
Yeah, brilliant
But
idea.
then he must have known the invincibility cheat, because the thing with like just any game we were playing, it was like you play until you die kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you'd get your turn, and then it was his turn, and then the cheat would go on, and then you didn't get a turn. You didn't get a turn for the rest of the night. So.
You were like, how come those bullets aren't hurting you? And he's like, just really good at the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. But, I'm still kind of like that these days when it comes to video games. I really enjoy like watching people play games, but when it comes to playing them, I get kind of stressed out. But like
That's exactly like Eve.
Oh yeah.
Eve loves the idea of playing and sitting down and playing something, but when it actually comes to it, she doesn't enjoy it as much and just prefers to just relax and watch someone else do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've been playing the Knights of the Old Republic, and it's brilliant. Like it's a really good game, and the story's brilliant. But it's like turn based. You have to like, it's based on like Dungeons and Dragons kind of turn based kind of thing.
Yeah. So like, what do you walk up to someone and go, "Hiya," and it's like 5 damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm used to just running around on Phantom Menace slashing people up. So
yeah, I'm not a fan of that style of combat. I don't like going up to people, like running up to them, standing still, and just sort of doing that kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's done really well, and I can get through it, but it's like I just have a really hard time getting through it. What's this?
Yeah.
Scran stabbed himself with a scissor during KOTOR due to being frustrated. Yep, that's exactly right, Stieg. Just want.
Have you been streaming the game, or do you just play it in your own time?
I just play it my own time. I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying to get through KOTOR 1 and 2. Because I'd really like to read the Old Republic novels. There's about 4 of them.
Yeah.
But I've been told that you should play the game first because a lot of the lore is in there, kind of thing.
Oh wow, okay. I'm playing through Jedi Outcast at the moment on the channel, and it's a really hard game to stream because like you want to play it and have fun with it, but then you've got the chat going, and it's such an easy game to get lost. So it's like trying to be entertaining, trying to reply to everyone, and not get lost, and not get frustrated while I'm playing it.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, eh?
It's so much going on.
Stieg Kenobi likes those games. He was telling me that the Jedi Academy and what's the other one called?
Might be Outcast.
They tie in very well with the EU apparently.
Yeah. Carl Katan. Yeah, he's like one of the original Grey Jedis, I guess.
Yeah, and the Dark Forces games. Getting the Death Star plans and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's see. Talked about that. And let's see. So cool. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the game, or is there? We're talking about other games. What's other Star Wars games that you're really interested in?
So, I've done first of all, I can't think of anything else to say about the Phantom Menace. I feel like we've covered every single aspect of it.
Yeah, you just have to play it. Honestly, it's amazing.
I feel like we've done it proud. And I hope anyone who's watched this stream is encouraged to at least try it and play it. It's so cheap. But as for other Star Wars games, Jedi Power Battles obviously has been that was a big part of my childhood as well. And it's charming in its own way, like not in the same ways as the Phantom Menace is. I'm trying to think. I've done Revenge of the Sith on the channel. Obviously, the famous alternate ending of Revenge of the Sith is incredible. And I'm hoping, I think it's the 25th anniversary coming up. I'm really hoping someone jumps on that and gets permission to like do some sort of remaster or bring it to the PS5, because
I'd love to play that game again.
That would be incredible. Like my PS2 broke recently, so I can't play it. But
I did.
If like it was really accessible and able to get on my PlayStation 5, that would be amazing. And yeah, I'm on Jedi Outcast at the moment, which has a really good sort of feel to it. I've just finished Bounty Hunter. That was an awesome game. I never completed it as a kid because it was just too tricky for me. It was too hard. And it was hard playing through it on the channel, actually. Like there was a lot of failed missions. But the lore was awesome. Like is it Kamari Vosa, who's Dooku's like fallen Padawan? Like I think she's like the original Ventress, essentially.
She's kind of similar,
Yeah, very similar. I think, does she get a mention in Darth Plagueis as well, actually? I think she does.
I think you're right, actually,
Yeah. But I found the cutscenes of that game just like watching a movie. It's
it was cool.
It was like in between the Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars. And, you know, you see the moment that Django like agrees to be the template for the clones and stuff like that. It was just wicked. Yeah. So they're the games that I've been doing recently. But what about you? You're playing Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah. I'm playing that for the first time. I got bullied into it. Let's see, like Bounty Hunter. That was one of the ones I watched my older brother play. I have played it myself as well. It was really good. Revenge of the Sith. Let's see, the original Battlefront 2. I'd say that's my all-time favorite. Apart from, I brought her comment up. Emily the Goof said Rogue Squadron. That's for the Nintendo 64.
Oh, okay.
Where you basically play Rogue Squadron flying X-wings, A-wings, B-wings. It's awesome.
That sounds fun.
That's a good one. And
I played. I don't know if you ever played. Was it like Jedi Starfighter, where like you would be Jedi but in their starships?
Yeah, we had it, but it never worked. It was one of those games we got like from a secondhand store, and it never played.
Pre-owned, and the disc didn't work.
The disc was scratched or whatever.
Damn. Yeah, I remember that.
Let's see. There must be another one. I'm thinking. Jedi Power Battles definitely was another big one for me.
Yeah. Did you ever play Force Unleashed or anything like that?
Yes, that's it. Force Unleashed 1 was really good, I thought.
Yeah. I was so excited for that game. When they dropped the trailers and stuff, that was like the first time I saw a trailer of something, saw the date that it was coming out, and I remember thinking, I don't know if I can actually physically wait for that date to come round. I want to play it now.
But we've been going almost 2 hours. Basically, we've covered the game. Is there any, apart from Cloak of Deception, is there any like novels that you're particularly interested in reading, or are you more kind of the games you're into? I
recently only finished my first ever physical book, like, and I'm in my 30s, which is really embarrassing to say, but I found it so hard to just sit and focus my mind on something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only recently, since I've started looking after myself a bit better, that I can actually sit down and focus my mind on reading. So Darth Plagueis was the second book I've ever finished, like physical. I've always listened to Audible, so I've listened to thousands of books, but I could never actually get round to sitting and reading. So I've done Plagueis. Cloak of Deception will be the next one.
Nice.
Was it Shadowhunter you said after that?
Yeah, I'll show it to chat. You've got Shadowhunter.
Yeah.
So I'll be moving on to that as well at some point.
So I'll do that, and then I think I'd like to give the Revenge of the Sith novel a go.
Nice.
Just because I feel like it's got details in there that obviously the movie just couldn't go into.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll probably be doing that mixed with non-Star Wars books, you know.
Yeah.
Any inspirational people that might help me in my day-to-day life. But recently, like, I can't go to work without my book. If I've got, for those of you who don't know, I'm a photographer. So if I've got any time between shoots, if I can just go and escape my mind in the book and then carry on with work, it's incredible. Like, in between jobs, I was reading about what Sidious and Plagueis are up to, and it was like the best escapism ever. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm completely de-stressed and I've slowed everything down and I'm ready to get back to work. So I've found I've got like a newfound love for actual physical reading, which is embarrassing to say because I should have discovered it a long time ago, but my mind just wasn't capable of sitting there and focusing and reading. I'd read 3 pages and my mind would have thought about a million other things that weren't even in the book. Yeah. So I'd have to go back and read it all again.
No, I don't think it's embarrassing. Like, that's something, like, I've only gotten into reading the expanding universe within the last year or so. And like, I found it difficult, getting through a book. Like, I've only had glasses in the last like year because like I would get halfway through a page and like I wasn't retaining information, words were jumbling up. I thought I was dyslexic. It's like it is difficult, and then there's a lot of things you want to do in the day, and like that's kind of the thing I like to push on my channel, is that there's a lot of media out there, like movies, books. There's like 100 years worth of stuff that you could, or more of stuff you could be getting into.
Yeah.
Apart, like, instead of like new stuff, which isn't really like meeting the mark, is it? There's a lot of stuff out there you could be indulging yourself in that's really good and worthwhile.
Yeah.
But no, it's not
totally
not embarrassing at all.
Oh, thank you. I reckon the glasses might be linked to you starting a YouTube channel as well. My eyes have deteriorated so much since starting a YouTube channel and having to edit a lot, and all the screens that you get from it. So yeah, you'll probably see me in some glasses soon.
It's like a Clark Kent thing. Like, in real life, people don't know who I am. So
yeah, I need some of that in my life.
Let's see. So yeah, just want to thank you for coming on the channel, and I want to thank you for like kind of in your own way doing your part to sort of like preserve like original Star Wars like continuity and media. And it might not be like what you set out to do, but you definitely do that on your channel. You definitely are sharing like something from George Lucas era that people are probably not going to be playing and not going to remember or care about. And it's awesome because this is from our childhoods, and it's something really special. So I think you're doing a really good job on your channel.
Oh, thank you. Well, no, thank you so much for having me on. Like I said, I've never done this before. I've never been on anyone else's channel. it was really weird because I've done, you know, so many streams now, but I hadn't been this nervous for a stream in such a long time because it's sort of different. I'm like away from home. I'm not like on my
Yeah, I
channel.
understand
It
that.
just,
Yeah.
yeah. But like straight away, I just felt at home. And like I said, my whole life, I've never had a conversation like this with anyone about Star Wars because I've got no one in my life that was interested.
Yeah.
I've only talked at people with my channel and I read things back, but actually having this interaction has been incredible. And it's the first time ever. So yeah, I'm really grateful and honored that you had me on. And I think regarding doing the stuff with George, I don't know what it is. I just think all the stuff from the George Lucas era just feels special. Like, because it's from him, it's from his mind. Like, he's the one that we should be thanking for all of this. And if he's okayed it and he's seen it and he's happy with it, then it just, for some reason, just feels even more special to me. And then obviously the fact that it does take us back to our childhood and we can sort of rekindle those inner child feelings. It's a mixture of so many different things.
Yeah, well said, man. Yeah, awesome.
I'm just reading that comment. Ezra is a Disney character's name, so I was skeptical, but he checks out.
Yeah, Decrepit's cool. Decrepit knows where it's at. So
I am just so everyone's aware. Ezra is my actual name. I don't call my channel Ezra after that character.
Oh, we know. He's just good.
How funny.
Ezra's good people. He likes the Ewoks, so you know he's good people.
I never showed you. I had some vintage Ewoks here, ready. I don't know why I never showed you, but I couldn't come on here without showing some vintage Ewoks from the 80s.
Yeah. What's your well, I've got you here. What's your favorite out of the two Ewok movies?
Oh, this one all day. Battle for Endor.
The second one, yeah.
The second one. I didn't even know the first one was a thing.
Oh, really?
I think the first Star Wars I ever watched was The Phantom Menace here, that VHS. I saw it in the cinema and then my parents got me that VHS. And then I didn't know about the other movies like Return of the Jedi and stuff. But for some reason, we had this VHS. And this is set, I think, 5 or 8 years after Return of the Jedi.
I think it's weird because I think it's technically after, but the people making it thought it was before.
Oh, really?
So I think it's technically before. And in canon, they've said it before or something like that.
Oh, because on here, I'm sure it said on the... it used to say, I don't know where it is now, and I'm on a stream, so I won't just sit here and read. But it used to say somewhere, it said something like 5 years have passed since the Battle of Endor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If you find that, you'll need to post that. I'd like to see it.
Yeah. Here. After taking on the infamous Darth Vader, the Ewoks have returned in Ewoks: The Battle for Endor.
Oh, so right. So that's the second movie.
Yeah.
But it kind of takes place not long after the first one.
Oh, the first movie.
It's wild because like the entire family dies like straight away.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's pretty rough. I feel like.
So this is the second movie, and it follows on from the first movie. But I mean, both movies are set at.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I'm trying to like. I might need to do a bit more research into that. I'm not sure exactly when. If that's what it's saying, it must be after Return of the Jedi. That's wild.
It's saying after taking on the infamous Darth Vader, because I always saw it that way as well. Because when I first saw Return of the Jedi, I was like, oh, that's weird. Wicket's not speaking. Why isn't he speaking?
Yeah, he speaks basic, doesn't he?
He speaks English in the movie. he's chatting to Sindel, and they're like best mates, just chatting. And then when it comes to Return of the Jedi, he's like a little kid who's just a wild animal. And then I did a bit of research, and I was like, oh, okay, because my first experience of Wicket was in that movie, not Return of the Jedi.
That's wild. I can't imagine what that's like.
So as you can imagine, Return of the Jedi for a long time became like one of my favorite movies because it had the Ewoks at the end of it.
You're like, oh, Wicket's in this movie. My favorite character.
And I was looking around for Sindel, thinking, where's she then?
She actually she appears. I'm not sure what. I think it's. I can't remember what novel. There's a novel where she appears later on, older, so that they managed to tie her back into the continuity. I'll find it out for you.
I always wondered what happened to her. There was there was loads of weird rumors about what happened to her, but I always thought she was tough as nails because like you said, the beginning of that second movie starts and her entire family's massacred and she doesn't even like shed a tear. She just goes about her day like nothing's happened.
It's kind of fun. It must just be a Star Wars thing because like Alderaan gets blown up and Leia like doesn't batter an eyelash.
No.
And then it's like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru get like smoked and Luke's just like, oh, I guess I'm going with Obi-Wan.
yeah, that's it. They're just so happy. They're just so happy to go about without it.
Normal reaction. But I think the Battle for Endor feels more like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
But like personally, I preferred this. I preferred the first one for the story. I don't know why, because the first one has like real life animals in it, like all the way through it. I'm pretty sure I listed in my video on the.
You did.
I listed like every real life animal you see in that movie, and it kind of takes you out of it, but it's whatever. It's a fun movie.
The second one, the crow lady's riding a horse.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In fact, I think there's some Ewoks who ride horses at one point.
It's like they're like ponies. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think there's a chicken in the first one.
There's a chicken. There's donkeys. There's a lizard. Horse. There's a horse. I think there might be sheep or a goat or something like that. There's the second one has a raven. That's about it.
Yeah,
that's crow or something.
Yeah, the lady turns into it.
Listen, dude, I could talk to you all night about Star Wars, but I don't want to keep you too much longer.
We've been going 2 hours. That's decent.
I'd like to give you a chance to plug your channel a little bit again for anyone that might not have been here, or
so essentially my channel is what it says. I said earlier, but it's called Ezra's Junkyard because it is just like a junkyard of all my favorite things, and I named it that after Watto's Junkyard from the Phantom Menace, and it's just sort of nostalgia based. So it's for people our sort of age who might struggle a little bit with the stresses life tend to bring as we all get older, and just want to escape and find some of their inner child again. So whether that's a game like the Phantom Menace or me looking at like toys that we used to play with, and every week I've got a video coming out. We stream every week, and every other week I just do a chat with Ezra where we all just sit and chat, and I ask them, how their week's been. We talk about comics, films, movies, same thing, games. And we've got a Discord with lots of people in who are all, people have actually made friends on the channel, which is incredible. So that's essentially what it is. It's just sort of a hangout place where we sort of do different things every week.
Yeah, brilliant. So like anyone in the chat that hasn't seen Ezra's stuff, like go subscribe, or like it's good for me because a lot of the channels I like are over in the States. So like it's always either replays or it's super late when I'm watching. So it's good to catch some of Ezra's streams when he's playing the games or stuff like that. It's good. So any people over here in Britain in the chat, subscribe to Ezra. You'll have somewhere you can go hang out. Vex says he'll check you out. Go for it, dude.
Thanks, Vex.
Vex likes to come in. It's funny because I've been reading where is it? I've been reading Shatterpoint on my streams. And Vex comes in one day and he's like, "Oh, it's Mr. Glass," like because he played Mr. Glass in that Shyamalan movie.
Oh yeah.
So now everyone calls it. Oh, we're going to read Mr. Glass, or we're going to read Shill Point, or. But Vex is always like, "Oh, I missed the last stream. I didn't came where we're at." So I don't know if he's actually heard any of the book, but he's always supportive. So it's awesome.
I love it. Yeah, I have people like that. Like, I'll just, in fact, you do it sometimes. You'll come in and be like, force choke that like button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't always stay long, but I like to show support, and then I'll catch the replay. So
yeah, no, I'm the same.
There's Darth Paws in the chat, the infamous Darth Paws. Darth Paws, you're going to have to get in touch with me because you've deleted everything off your channel and you've ghosted me and you've vanished, and I really want to do the KOTOR stream with you. So I don't know what's happening. Did your parents ground you or something? But the door's always open to you to come and do the KOTOR stream. So let us know you're okay, basically. Right, dudes, it's been fun.
Really
Ezra's
fun.
a good dude, and you should go subscribe to his channel. Thanks for being here. As always, long live the expanded universe. Go play the Phantom Menace video game, and lang may your limbs reek. Take care, folks.